Hi there. Hi guys. Hey. Good day, everyone. And welcome to our live webinar, How to be a Lucrative SEO Freelancer. I'm Elena. How are you doing? How is your day going? Where are you watching us from? I'm happy to see you here today. I see you are still joining. I hope that you all are ready to learn new actionable things about SEO freelance and how to use this new knowledge to boost your SEO career and work-life balance. Thank you again for joining us. Hello, Lina. Hello, Diogo. Great. Happy to see you here. Thank you again, and we look forward to your active participation in today's webinar. Um, okay, welcome everyone. I'm Elena Prohoda, and I'm social media marketing and community specialist at Serpstat, the growth hacking tool for search marketing. Let me tell you about the Serpstat platform and our webinars. Hi guys. Um, our platform includes over 50 tools for SEO and PPC professionals, marketing experts, and big digital agencies. It helps analyze websites and competitors, create content, collect keywords, check backlinks, find on-page SEO issues, cluster tons of keywords, and track rankings daily. And of course, there is such an opportunity to try all these features for free with a 7-day trial. And why attend Serpstat webinars? These are online educational sessions. We invite industry experts, thought leaders, and Serpstat professionals to cover a wide range of topics such as keyword research, competitors analysis, link building, content strategy, and more. And they are designed to provide practical tips, actionable knowledge, and techniques that can help digital marketers, SEO, and business owners to improve their online presence, increase their visibility, and drive more traffic and sales to their websites. Overall, Serpstat webinars are great resource for anyone looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and best practices in digital marketing and SEO. Hello, guys. Hello, Jay. Um, and today we are covering how to be a lucrative SEO freelancer, work less and earn more. And before we start, let me tell you about the format. The webinar will last approximately 60 minutes. Prepare your questions, send them to the live chat on YouTube, and our speaker, Liam, will answer them during the Q&A session. And every registered attendee will get the webinar materials on their email. I'll send the page to the chat. Please make sure you have registered there. Here, right? And it's time to meet our speaker. Hi, Liam.
Hey, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited about our today webinar. I'm really happy to see you here as our speaker with such a great topic. And let me tell our attendees a couple of words about you. Liam is an SEO and content marketing expert and a coach for freelancers who want to earn more and work less. He's been working in SEO for over a decade and runs his own SEO and content consultancy business, Inkwell Content. I took a look at his slides. It's full of practical advice, but not spoilers yet. Guys, enjoy the topic and prepare your questions. Liam, here you are.
Thank you so much. And hi, everybody. It's so great to join you all today. I'm going to go ahead and throw some slides up on here and talk through things. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. So if you have any questions along the way, I might save them for the end. But if it's something specific, feel free to chime in. Okay, let me get my slides up here on screen for everybody. Okay. There we go. All right, so thank you so much for that introduction. My name is Liam. As you said, my contact details are here, but you'll be able to grab them later. I just wanted to start out by giving you a little bit more of my story, tell you why I'm here to talk about this topic today. So my background is as a writer. I got a degree in fiction and publishing in Boston back in a million years ago, and I always wanted to be a writer. My very first job was at a content marketing agency in 2008 in Boston. I didn't actually know what SEO or content marketing was back then. I was just happy to be paid to write. But I actually ended up working in content marketing agencies for over a decade. My job ended up taking me over to Sydney, Australia. I worked in marketing agencies there. I learned a lot about SEO and content. I got pretty good at it, became the director of content for a while, and kind of hated it. I really didn't like being chained to a desk. I felt like frustrated that a lot of the money I was making was not going into my own pocket. I had no control over my clients. I wanted to travel the world. So I quit my job and in 2018. And in that first year, it was a little bit rocky, but I was lucky because I'd kind of gotten a head start. It took me 10 years, but I got all of the processes and client management stuff down in that 10-year period. So I was able to kind of hit the ground running and manage to make $100,000 in my first year. And since then, I've been kind of growing that income quite significantly over the last few years. And now I'm a digital nomad. So I travel the world servicing my clients as I go and have started training other people how to do what I do. Because to be honest, I kind of love my life. I really enjoy the lifestyle that I've managed to get. It just took me way too long to get here. So I'm kind of now trying to offer people a way to hit fast forward and just jump ahead to the part where you start earning good money as an SEO freelancer. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. So we're going to do kind of a crash course. I have a long course on this. Or it's not terribly long, but it's way more in depth than this. This is kind of the shortened version. I'll definitely share more details about that. But today we're just going to go through some of the big stuff. So which services can you actually offer as an SEO freelancer? I'm not teaching you any SEO skills on this call. I'm teaching you how to sell these skills. So ideally, you maybe have a bit of background in SEO already. Next, I want to talk about how you can work less and earn more as an SEO freelancer. So there are certain things that you can do to just get more money. There's plenty of ways to make not very much money as an SEO freelancer if you're on like Fiverr and that kind of thing. But there are certain things you can do to just like really strike gold and earn more money without having to work yourself to the bone. And then finally, how do you actually find clients who are willing to pay that price? And how do you attract them? How do you not spend all your time marketing when you want to be working on SEO stuff and client stuff? I'm going to go through all of that today. All right, so let's start with the basics. What do SEO freelancers actually do? If you want to call yourself an SEO freelancer, what do you do? So this is the sentence that I'll use at a cocktail party or in an elevator pitch, just trying to explain to people what I do. So I help businesses grow their online traffic and attract new customers through the power of SEO and content marketing. So that's pretty good one sentence, but it doesn't really tell you like what's the day-to-day look like. So when it comes to SEO services, there's a number of them, and these are pretty much all of them. You can choose, some people do one of these, some people do all of them. I do almost all of them. I'll explain more which ones I do and don't do, but these are kind of the different things that people are looking for when they're hiring SEO freelancers. And I'm adding one more. This is the third time I've done this presentation, but the first time I've talked about this because the last few months things have really changed. And I think that there are new opportunities for SEO freelancers who want to work with AI and prompting. Yes, I will get there, Yulia, don't you worry. Okay, let's talk about these different services. So SEO auditing, this is just basically working in technical SEO, finding out what's stopping people from succeeding with SEO. As a freelancer, you're going to have in-depth knowledge of technical SEO, and that's kind of a turn off to people who are maybe starting out as writers. But I have a course that I'll show you in a minute. It's free that you can learn these basic stuff and you can run a tech audit as well. I like this service because I think of it as kind of a gateway drug for SEO. Clients often start out at a technical audit. They've Googled around, they've decided they need SEO, and the first thing they know they need to do is like clean up their website. So this is a really good way to get your foot in the door. It does take a while to learn how to perform a really good audit, and once you can do that, then you can start charging pretty good money for them. I've charged anything from $1,000 to $10,000 just for the audit itself, depending on the size of the website and how much of a mess it is. So it's a pretty good way to get quick money like that and get your foot in the door. All right, keyword research. Now, this is probably something that if you're already an SEO writer, you do this maybe per article, but I'm trying to teach you how to get the most money out of these services, right? So if you can actually sell this as its own service rather than just something you do as optimization for your articles you're writing, offer bulk keyword research. And this is kind of a tedious project where you'll have to go through and use the prime SEO tools like Serpstat to get and do a lot of audience research. But then what you'll deliver is thousands of keywords opportunities or hundreds of keywords opportunities for your clients, and you can charge a pretty penny for that. Usually my baseline for doing like some keyword research for like maybe one or two topics is $2,000 if I'm going really in depth. And if it's more topics, charge more money. The one thing I will say is it's very unclear what's going to happen with keywords in the next few years with SEO. Keywords, since they were invented at the dawn of SEO, have become less and less important over time. So, and I think AI is going to change that. So, this is if you're not already really skilled with keywords, this may not be something you want to invest too much time in learning until we see how things shake out. But if you already like keywords, you like researching keywords, this is a great way to, turn something that maybe you're offering just as an add-on into a complete service that you can sell. Content strategy. So this is my personal favorite. This is when you create a SEO-driven content strategy. If you're marketing yourself as an SEO specialist, then this kind of takes a technical audit, keyword research, and a content plan and rolls them all together. This is the best way to build a long-term relationship with a client. All of my big retainer clients, which are like the foundation of my freelance business, came from a content strategy at the start, or a technical audit that then became a content strategy. And the reason it's a good long-term strategy is because they're going to need help execute it. So after you present this big document, which you charge a big one-off price for, you can then say, oh, and by the way, for a monthly retainer, I'll help you execute this. It does require a lot of time up front. Usually takes me a few weeks to put together a full content strategy and then present it, get it all stylized and everything. And it's usually, in my opinion, the highest paying one. So I've charged the most was 20,000. There's people I know who charged more. I don't really charge less than 6,000 to do a full content strategy. And like I said, it really turns into a long-term retainer content. Something about these prices that I'm shouting out here, I should have said this at the start. These are just my prices. There is no like standard price for these kinds of things. There are people who offer way less. They'll charge way less for this kind of thing. There's people who will charge way more. But people always ask, I don't know how much to charge. And this is one of the things I try to foster with my students is let's be transparent with each other. These are what I charge. Just me, only me. Okay, SEO content creation. This is probably the one you're all most familiar with if you're a writer. This is a great way to start. If you are someone who books yourself as a freelance copywriter or freelance writer and you're not shouting about your SEO knowledge and maybe upcharging for the SEO knowledge that you bring, you're missing out on money. So much of being an SEO content creator is just talking about it openly and charging for it appropriately. You do need to know the fundamentals of SEO. Again, I have a free course for this, and I also have some free resources that you can find on my website, like a checklist so that you can have that open when you're going through content. And there's a template as well for writing SEO-driven content that clients really like. You can get a head start by learning some AI prompts and exploring tools. I am already doing this with a lot of the content I create. I think it's the way of the future. There's really no going back at this point. The people who are learning how to use AI prompts and tools those are the people who will succeed in the future going forward. Nick, I see your question here about what is my client's average company size. For those that you hire you. So it depends. For the big ones, they can be kind of mid-level. some enterprise companies. But I've also had some small businesses that just have enough market and budget to do that. A lot of them are like growing tech companies. So we're usually talking anywhere from 50 employees to 500 or more. Sometimes they might have multiple offices. It's quite a range. Okay. Uh, Increasing need for editors who can humanize and optimize content. So if you're a writer and you're also good at editing, you have opportunity right now in the market to really book yourself and bill yourself as an editor. I've already gotten requests from people who are like, hey, we generated all this AI content, but it turns out it's not that good. Can you optimize it? Can you write it, edit it? So I think there's a big opportunity here for people to start marketing themselves as that. And writers are the perfect people to do that kind of a thing. This is a really highly sought after service. Even now, there are constant requests for people who can do this kind of thing. And if you're a good writer and you really know how to optimize your content, you can earn quite a bit of money. I currently charge about $300 per 500 words. I like charging that way rather than in time because it kind of allows me to gauge how long a piece of content is going to be and get paid appropriately rather than how long it's going to take me to do it. So anyway, this is the big one that you're probably all familiar with. Backlink growth and management. We're getting through these, I promise. So this one is the one that I do not offer because it's very competitive. It really does require an extensive network because you basically have to have people who are willing to backlink to you and kind of be a networking person to pull this off. This service gets a bad rap in our industry for good reason, actually. There's a lot of people who just spam you constantly looking for, you've probably experienced it. I get about 4 or 5 requests a day of, can we backlink to you? I get them on LinkedIn, I get them in email. They're really annoying, and it's really given backlinking as a service. It's given it kind of a bad name, but there are people that do it legitimately and make good money off of it. It is, like I said, time consuming, and usually it's a standalone service because of that. A lot of people who offer backlinking, that's all they do. And just because it takes so much time and resources. And again, I'm just not sure what the future of backlinks will be for SEO. No one is because of AI and how things are changing with search. A lot remains to be seen. So just something to consider. Maybe think about that before you dive into this becoming your future career. I'm not saying it won't be a career path in the future, just unclear how it's going to change. SEO consultation. So this comes probably a little bit later if you already have some street cred as an SEO expert, which I'll talk more about how you build that up in just a moment here. But this is a really lucrative service, probably the most lucrative out of here, especially when you consider that once you have templates and lessons and plans and that kind of thing, you really can tone down the amount of work that you do and just sort of deliver the consultation live. It can also work like training and coaching. SEO trainers, SEO coaches, I happen to be doing it right now. It is another option for you in this industry. And the new one, I do think AI prompts and editing are going to be something that SEO freelancers can use. Learning how to write effective prompts are key. There's so many resources for these already. Plugins that go right into ChatGPT or platforms like StoryChief and Phrase and other ones that are building AI in and helping you write and create prompts. So knowing how to do that is going to be key. AI is far from perfect. So as I've said, it needs editing and humanization, SEO optimization from humans still. And if you really want to pursue this, you just really need to stay ahead of the news, just be constantly reading about it. It's kind of hard to avoid anyway. But I'm especially curious to see when Google releases Bard and its integration into Google Drive with AI. That's going to be a crucial moment in the history of SEO, and we should all be watching if we're interested in this industry. Okay, so how do you decide which services you're going to offer? So in my course, I have like a whole little homework assignment that people can do to answer questions and kind of really drill down into what they want to do. But to give you a quick overview, there are just a handful of questions you need to ask yourself. So first one is, what are you currently good at? Are you a really good writer? Are you someone who kind of nerds out on web development and understands technical audits? Are you someone who enjoys keyword research and knows how to use, Serpstat really well? Start with what you're good at and make that your first and primary service, at least now. That would be my advice. The next thing you need to think about is, what do you actually enjoy doing? So hopefully you've tried a little bit of everything with SEO, and if you're like me, you'll have discovered that some of them are really fun and interesting, and some of them make you want to pull your hair out. Good to consider that because you're going to be doing a lot of it. So if you're not enjoying it, people don't often put the enjoyment factor into these considerations. They're just looking to make money. But what's the point of making money if you're not enjoying yourself? That's my opinion. Where do you want to upskill? So maybe you don't really know how to do keyword research yet, but you're really interested in learning how to use Serpstat and some of the other tools. Well, this is an opportunity for you to take a course, write it off as a tax write-off, upskill, and start selling more. So good place to look for is think about what you want to learn. What are you curious about? And then what other niches and industries do you already have access to? So you can just market yourself as an SEO specialist. That's pretty much what I've done. But I know people who have been very successful because they have a finance background or a medical background or a fashion background. They're able to work better with those industries, or they've done e-commerce before, so they can do Shopify. Think about what other skills you have and how can you use that to augment the SEO services you offer and also differentiate yourself from people like me. Okay, how much money can you actually make as an SEO freelancer? So I've thrown some numbers around in here, but again, this is a SEO freelancer's favorite answer. It depends on 3 different factors. The first one is the SEO services that you offer. So if you are someone who offers content strategy, you stand to earn more money just because every time you land a content strategy, you have a bigger price tag on it than you would if you were just doing blog writing. So big one is, which services are you offering? The next question is, how do you market yourself? So much of how much you can earn depends on how well you are able to market yourself. Are you able to build a name for yourself and draw in warm leads? Or do you have to dedicate a ton of your personal time to finding cold leads and pulling them in? And, the amount of time you spend marketing is going to affect your overall hours worked, and the overall hours worked is how much you earn. So that's something to consider. The more you market yourself, and we're going to go into the marketing strategies that I recommend for SEO freelancers here, there are certain ways to do it to cut down on time, increase the quality of leads, and we're going to go over that. But if you're not marketing yourself at all right now, then the answer is you're not going to make very much money. How quickly can you perform work? So this is something, part of my course is teaching people how to deliver SEO products really quickly, not really quickly, but faster than you would if you didn't have some of these templates and tools and methodologies, because again, the number of hours you work is directly correlated to how much you can possibly earn. If you're working fewer hours, you're earning more generally per hour. So if you can find ways to cut down significantly on creating SEO deliverables, then your pay rate goes up. You can take on more clients, you can take on bigger clients, bigger projects, or just, go to the beach more often. But even more important than all of those things are your ability to earn, to offer premium services. And this is kind of my groundbreaking moment. This is when things changed for me as a freelancer, when I kind of had this realization. And it came to me on a plane. For the very first time in my life, I was flying first class because I had like leftover miles. I'm kind of stingy. And I got into first class. I'd always sort of thought, first class flying, like big whoop. Why do people pay this much to do it? I'm only doing it because it's free. Then it was really lovely. I had a really nice time. And I realized that there are people who do have money to pay for this every time. And those people do because it's actually a delightful service. You get better food. You get this one-on-one attention. The seats are so much comfortable. It's worth it if you can pay for it. I can apply that to SEO. There are some people who are stingy like me and only want economy SEO, and they're never going to pay more than, the minimum price that they can get. We don't want those people. We don't care about those people. There are other people who understand the value of SEO, and they are the ones who are willing to pay these really high premium prices, but only if they can expect to get premium rates in return, or premium service in return, rather. What does that mean? So premium service means, how do your clients perceive you, and how do you present the deliverables? And both of these kind of factor in together to deliver a premium service. More specifically, the number one thing, if you take anything away from this conversation, I want to make sure that you understand, as if you want to offer a premium service and earn premium rates, you have to make your life easy for your clients. And this applies to every other tip I'm about to give you on this list. But whenever in doubt, think to yourself, how can I make my life easier for my client? If you can do that, they will pay you well and they will stay on board. How do you do that? So you put design work into your deliverables is one thing. I have a designer that I hire. Um, and I pay her as a I'm terrible at design. She has helped me increase the value of my deliverables because, to be honest, people like it when it looks good. If it looks good, if it looks branded, if it looks high quality, you can charge more for it. So if you're not a designer yourself or you don't have time to design, find someone who does, or learn how to use Canva. Be proactive. This is a big one. A client should never have to chase you. You need to learn how to manage deadlines. If a client is chasing you because you haven't delivered something, then you're not offering, that premium customer concierge service that you should be offering. Commit to honesty. So I screw things up all the time. Everyone does. In SEO, it's a game of experimentation. You're going to make mistakes. Really good premium service means you own up to your mistakes really quickly. It requires confidence to do that. A big one as well. Everything that you present to your client, you should assume that unless they're the CEO themselves, they're probably going to present it to somebody else or they would like to. So make it easy for your client to just take what you've given and show off. If you have really good results, they're going to want to show that to their boss. If you have really good processes set up, they're going to want to show that to their boss. So everything you deliver, you're not just making it for the person who's your contact is, but for their boss and their boss's boss. Basically, give them something that they would be proud to show off, and they will love you for it because you're going to make them look good. Okay. Where and how do you find the right clients? This is the big question. Okay. I'm going to talk about what I call the healthy freelance lead life cycle. This one took me a long time to crack the code for how this works. So when you're brand new to freelancing, and this really applies to more than SEO. So if you're not into SEO, but you still want to be a freelancer, I think this system kind of works. You start out with cold leads. Everybody does. If you don't have any leads, you got to start somewhere. So it's the worst part. But cold leads are basically people who don't know you, have never heard of you, but you're going to pitch to them anyway. While you're doing that, because that's very time consuming, and I have some tips on how to find the right kind of cold leads. But while you're doing that, I strongly suggest that you start with the self-promotion side of things. This is a way to start building a name for yourself. And I'm going to go into ways that you can do this. But basically, it's sharing your knowledge, talking about yourself, getting over that imposter syndrome so that you can talk confidently and show off a little bit online so that people know who you are, know what you do, know what your expertise is, and will eventually start contacting you directly. Those are the warm leads. Warm leads we love. Those are people who come to you saying, I want, SEO, whatever. And much, much better to have that rather than having to be hunting all the time. So we love a warm lead. You can turn cold leads into warm leads by using different strategies, which I'll talk about in a moment here. And then those warm leads, once they're warm, they're much, much easier to turn into a client. It's very hard to send someone a cold email and turn them into a client, quickly. But if you warm them up, if you show them a little bit about who you are and why you would help them and spend that time, then it's much easier to turn them into new clients. With new clients, you use different retention strategies and all of those premium service things we were just talking about to make them so happy that they just love you so much that they're never going to go away from you. If they're going to pay you more. And most importantly, they're going to tell their friends. Happy clients are the clients that talk about you, that share your name, that advertise for you. They become evangelists. If you make them happy, they'll do the work for you. And eventually, if you do that enough, then you don't have to do the cold leads anymore. You'll have a funnel coming in of referral, word of mouth, some stuff still coming in from your promotion, and you can cut back on the amount of time you have to spend marketing yourself really significantly. Put that time towards being with your family and friends, or, if you're a workaholic like me, building up a side business. This was like such a fast run through of everything. I actually have a 60-page ebook that I call the Lead Generation Guidebook for SEO Freelancers. It is coming out in May, really soon, and it is probably the best thing I've ever made. And it walks through every lead gen channel that I've ever used, tips for finding cold leads, and a swipe file as well of different email templates and methods that you can use to just like build up a pipeline, start getting those clients in. So go check that out. But I do want to share just a few strategies. So first things first, you need to have a place where people can find you online. That can be a website, it can be a website with a blog, it can be a website with a portfolio, it can be all of that. But people need to be able to Google you and read about you. And that can be, it can also be LinkedIn. Like if you don't want to build a website yet, you can probably start on LinkedIn. Speaking of which, if you really, really do want warm leads coming to you, you're going to need to get out there and start talking about yourself and start talking about what you do and why you do it well. And that means making posts on LinkedIn and Twitter and whatever other platform you use. I personally love LinkedIn. I would say a huge number of my leads come from LinkedIn. And I actually have a blog on my website that includes 30 different prompts you can use to start posting on LinkedIn. If you do that, I don't have to make any guarantees, but almost all of my students that have done it have seen leads come in through LinkedIn just by posting it frequently and following the instructions in that blog. So check it out. If you're already part of communities, or you can join different communities and build your network. There are so many Slack groups out there that are sharing leads and advice and insights. My course has a community with it. So if you take my course, you get into my community. People are sharing leads, people are sharing referrals. There's a huge, warm, welcoming SEO freelance family out there. And don't look at them as your competition. See them as people who can help your network. And then the other thing I recommend is just start making some assets and giving them away for free. This can be, you could write a few blogs on topics that you're interested in, publish them on your own blog, and just show people that you have, the ability to write well and optimize for SEO. But you can also use that when you are pitching. So as I've mentioned, I really recommend that if you're going to be doing cold pitching, you find ways to warm up the pitch. Do not send one of those generic emails that you could send to a million people in one click. Instead, I would recommend you invest your time kind of being polite. And this is just an example. We have this email of, I've been a big fan of your brand. You specifically mentioned the brand name and maybe a post that they've done or something that they've done recently. This is just letting them know I'm not just emailing you out of the blue. I'm actually someone who's paying attention. A little self-deprecating humor never hurt anyone. And then, you then hit them with this. I have noticed something specific about your website, and I always love to bring in a competitor too. I'll do a little bit of competitor analysis and say, look, your competitor's ranking for these 4 keywords, but you're not. I want to help you rank for them. So you're being polite, you're being helpful. You are pointing out a problem, but you're also offering yourself as a solution. People love this kind of a thing. And then if you really want to go the full thing, say, I've already written a blog about this, or I've already got some keywords I want to show you. Give them something where you're like, I've got this freebie for you that I made specifically for you, and I want to show it to you. Can we hop on a call? And then once you get them on a call, it's just a matter of warming them up a little bit more. Pretty soon they'll be a client. Anyway, this is in here in the slides that you'll get if you've joined and registered, so you can steal this. Okay, but if you are going to take that route of creating something, my one really quick tip is just make sure that it's something that you can use in a multiple different places. So let's say that you are trying to become an SEO writer in the finance industry, and you write this finance blog. Make sure that if you offer it to a potential lead and they say no, you can publish it on your own portfolio or give it to a different client. Don't waste your time creating something that's only applicable to one person. Keyword research, that's another good one, because you can find keywords within a niche and then show them off to a bunch of different businesses within the same industry. But if you come at them with that kind of warm approach and something that's free, that's so much better than just sending a generic email, and you're going to get leads a lot faster, in my opinion, in my experience. Do you want to know more about all of this? As I've mentioned a bunch of times, I have a course that's launching in May. Well, it's actually already launched. There's a new self-led version of it that's coming out in May. It's called SEO Bridge Builders. It's designed to help you build the bridge between freelancing and your SEO skills and a life as a lucrative freelancer. It's got a bunch of different stuff to make SEO go faster. So you've got technical audit roadmaps, which is what I'm showcasing here, video training from me, all the keyword research templates, and then also homework assignments and stuff to help you kind of, like I said, hit fast forward. You don't have to spend 10 years like I did digging around for this kind of solutions and to make money as an SEO freelancer. If you take this course, you can do it a lot faster. And you get all these different assets from me, including that pricing strategy guide and that lead generation guide and all of the templates and tools that you could possibly want. And it's coming out in just a couple weeks. So if you want to join in, just go to that link there or just visit my website and you can sign up for the waiting list. And as I mentioned, I also have a free SEO fundamentals course. So if you're someone who's still kind of learning about SEO and you want to do it really quickly in an hour, get like the best fast information. I shouldn't say the best. I think it's the best. Anyway, you can take a free course at this link as well. It takes about an hour to complete the whole thing, and you get to look at my pretty face the whole time. And as always, I love hearing from people. If you enjoyed this today, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. You can reach me from my website, my email address, on Twitter, or on LinkedIn. I always respond, so say hello. And I think that's going to be it for me. So perhaps we'll open it to question and answer time.
Great, Liam. Thank you very much. You shared great tips, ideas, this really actionable knowledge. So now let's answer questions of our attendees. Guys, please leave your questions in the live chat. You have several minutes before we pick them up. And now we'll start. I'm sorry, I can hear some echo. I'll try to avoid that. Okay, and now we'll start with the questions you guys sent us before the webinar. A couple of questions. Then we'll take questions in the chat box. So the first question is, what is the best place to find leads as a beginner? How do you find clients for SEO services?
Yeah, that's a really good question. It's probably the most common question I see. So if you are really new to this, there's a few things I recommend you do. The first thing is just start talking about what you do and don't shut up about it. When I started out as an SEO freelancer, I told everybody who would listen what I was doing, waiters, my mom's friends, cousin, anybody really, because my first few clients came by word of mouth. But beyond that, there are different methods I outline in my book that you can use. One of my favorites, I'll just share one of them, is looking at page 2 results. So let's say you want to work in a specific industry and you found a keyword that is really highly valuable. Look at that keyword and see which companies are ranking on page 2. And if they're on page 2, the reason I like page 2 is because they're not on the first page, so they're not seeing the benefits they could from that keyword. But if they've made it to page 2, they're probably trying, which means they value SEO. So, page 2, page 3, those pages on Google are full of links, or sorry, leads rather. LinkedIn is also, as I've mentioned, my favorite place to find leads. If you're cold pitching, there's really good search functions on LinkedIn that allow you to search for specific keywords. Start interacting with people there. But the number one thing I recommend you do is start talking about yourself, promoting yourself without directly selling, because people who recognize what you do, if they see your name on LinkedIn and Twitter and they realize that you're an SEO expert who's giving out all this free information, they're going to start coming to you. And that is so much better than cold lead hunting, I swear.
Great, thank you very much. And one more question. How to manage time to work with multiple clients over 3?
Yeah, that's a toughie. So I have so many different ways that I can manage time and that might work for you and might not. One thing to think about is, 3 clients, it depends on how much work you're doing for them. But I basically have 3 clients who are like my foundation clients, right? They're on retainers and they pay me a certain amount every month. It's almost like getting a paycheck. Those are the kinds of clients that I recommend you go for, the big fish like that, because managing 3 clients on a bigger budget is a lot easier than managing 15 people who are paying you a few $100s here and a few $100s there. I do recommend some software to help you. My favorite software, and this is not a promotion, they're not paying me, I pay them, is called Hectic, which is a really good tool for timing yourself, managing yourself. I also recommend using a timer. If you don't want to use Hectic, you can use the free timer on Toggle. Figure out which tasks are taking you the most amount of time and earning you the least amount of money, and then figuring out, can you outsource that to someone? Can you delegate that to a tool? Can you just stop doing that and stop offering that as a service? That's a really good way. You really can't analyze how you're managing your time if you don't know how much time you're spending on things. So even though it sounds kind of weird, start using a timer, and tools like Toggle and Hectic, they give you the stats so that you can see, oh, I actually dedicated way too much time to that client based on how much they pay me. I either need to cut down on work for them or charge them more. That kind of analysis really can be a game changer.
Great. That's a great point you made. So let's switch to the questions in the chat. Question from Nick. What's your client's average company size for those that hire you to create a strategy?
Yeah, I did touch on this briefly, but just to recap. So I don't have a specific size that I go for. I don't go for really huge enterprise. So, like Amazon has its own full content marketing agency that exists only within Amazon, right? I'm never going to work for them. But I like mid-sized businesses to small businesses. People who are solopreneurs really can't benefit from SEO that much, but people who are, anywhere from 10 to 1,000 employees, that's kind of generally where I operate. Once they get over 1,000 employees, they tend to have in-house content marketing agencies. Once they get under 10 employees, they tend to not have enough money to pay me. So it's a pretty wide sweet spot. I don't niche down in my SEO, work. I am an SEO generalist, and I offer my services to any kind of niche and any kind of business. If as long as they can afford it and I want to work with them, I'll take them on.
Thank you for the answer. And the next, which freelance website works better for you?
So I'm not sure what you mean by this question. I don't use any, there are lots of tools and things that I work, but I don't use any freelance platforms to find work.
Okay, and there is another question about that. What do you think about platforms like Upwork when you are getting started?
When you're getting started, I think they're absolutely fine, and I have been there. And I think it's a great way to build your portfolio, maybe get some referrals and testimonials, and you're going to be making less money, but you have to think about money and value, right? Testimonial is a valuable thing for someone who's new. A piece of content you can point to and put in your portfolio has value. So taking on lower paying jobs to get that value, as long as you're still getting something out of it for yourself, totally fine. And I like that you said for starting out, because it really should be a temporary mindset. You're never going to earn the really good income on those platforms, in my opinion. Maybe there are people who do it. I've never met anyone though.
Awesome. Do you have any suggestions of templates for service proposals?
So I have some within my course that you can definitely check out. Hectic, the tool that I mentioned, has pretty nice templates as well, that you can, kind of format yourself. I'm sure they're out there. The ones that are in my course are my favorites, obviously, but there are probably some that you can download for free as well.
Okay, one more question. Who would be your ideal client out of interest?
RuPaul's Drag Race. Somehow I want to write content for them. I guess. I don't know. I don't have an ideal client. I love Drag Race, so that would be really, really fun for me. My ideal client is someone who pays me what I'm worth and is really pleasant to work with. And fortunately, my existing client base is made up entirely of people who fall into that. So I'm kind of living my dream right now. But would I take the opportunity to get paid to write about drag queens? 100% yes.
You bring up a valid argument. Okay, how do you promote your services and skills if you are a good writer but relatively new to SEO?
Yeah, so that's a good question. The best advice, if you want to become an SEO writer and you're a good writer already, first let me say you're like way ahead of the game, because learning how to be a good writer is a lot harder than it is to learn how to be an SEO specialist. So, if you already got the writing skills to pay the bills, that's great. There's a couple of things I would recommend you do. First, start learning SEO. And when you learn, use that as an opportunity to share your knowledge with people. Sign up for LinkedIn and start. To give you just an example, take my SEO course. There's like 8 videos. They're 15 minutes long. It's all free. And every time you take one, go write a LinkedIn post about what you learned and why it's important and how you would apply it. That makes you look like an expert. Even if you just learn the information, it doesn't matter. You still know the information and you're showing people that you're learning. So I would start doing that, just learning the fundamentals and then sharing your knowledge with people. Try things out as well. One of the things that people like about my course is that there's homework assignments so that you can actually do the work and then put that in your portfolio and showcase it to different clients. You got to start doing the work so you can show it off. Even if you're doing it for no purpose but to show it off, write a blog about something you're passionate about. Use your knowledge to optimize it, publish that on your website. And when a client asks you for examples of your work, you say, yeah, here's a blog I wrote for SEO. That's good enough. So start learning and start showcasing your knowledge. That's my advice.
Great, it makes sense. Okay, what is your average SEO audit price that you charge? Is it on monthly basis or fixed one? Can you share that, or what does it depends on?
Yeah. So with just a technical audit, I do sell it as a standalone service, right? If you only want a technical audit, you can get that from me. Minimum is usually $2,000. I don't really do a tech audit for less than that. I've gone up to 5 or 6, depending on the size of the one. Sometimes even bigger if it's a really messy website. But I don't really like those because it's so complicated. It's not even worth the high price tag. But $2,000 for a medium-sized website. I have a roadmap in my course that kind of walks you through how to do it. And once you know how to do it, it's really quite quick. You know what to look for. So that's pretty good money for pretty relatively small amount of work. And as I mentioned, it is the best way to get someone to pay you long term because there's a lot about this in my course, but I use like a stoplight system to be like, green light means I can fix this issue for you. Yellow light means I can fix this for you, but you have to pay me more. And red light means I don't know how to fix it. You need a developer. The yellow light ones instantly become upsells for me, where I can, basically say, I'm happy to fix this problem. It just takes more time than you paid for. So pay me a little bit more and I'll fix it for you. Pretty soon you are basically an SEO consultant and you can then roll that into content strategy or an ongoing project.
Okay, and one more question from the chat from Lena. When you do a tech audit, do you also offer to fix it for them? If so, is that an extra charge to fix it?
Yeah, actually just answered that one, but basically it depends. If I can fix it and want to fix it, I will charge extra for it. If it's a really easy thing to fix, like honestly, sometimes people just need to like refresh all of their plugins in WordPress, right? That takes me 2 seconds, but it solves a lot of problems for people. So I'll offer to do that for free. And a lot of times clients are like, wow, that was so amazing. You did that for free. When really it was really, you don't have to tell them how easy it was. And then things that are kind of medium that are going to require a little extra time and I do enjoy doing them, I'll just say, hey, I can fix this for a fee. Or if you want, you could just pay me a retainer and I'll give you XYZ every month and a report every month so that we're just always on top of this stuff.
Great. Okay. Do you think LinkedIn is keen when it comes to finding how high quality SEO leads? Would you also consider other platforms like YouTube, Twitter, or even Facebook, or just going all in on LinkedIn?
So for me, LinkedIn has been the most lucrative. If you go to my website, you'll be able to read a breakdown of my I do it every year. I do like a summary of my year of freelancing for other freelancers, and it breaks down exactly where all of my leads came from. LinkedIn is by far the best, but I have gotten clients off of Twitter. I've gotten clients off of Slack. I've gotten clients off of Reddit. I have gotten clients from my email list. I have gotten clients from word of mouth. I've never gotten a client. No, actually, even Facebook groups I have used to get clients. In that lead generation strategy guide that I'm selling, it walks through every single strategy I've ever used to find a client and exactly how I did it, exactly what I think you should do. But you can kind of pick and choose the platforms that you like best. I've got a YouTube channel too, right? It's just a matter of how much can you handle and how well can you repurpose your content for different channels, and what do you enjoy. But I will say, for me, I've never seen anything better than LinkedIn.
Okay. I have ghost-written SEO content, mainly for clients at agencies I work with, which I don't include in my portfolio. Can I use it to promote myself privately? I don't have an NDA. What's the protocol?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you really. I can't tell you what to do. However, I will say that I have used work from my agency lifestyle privately to promote things, but I would recommend doing something unique. As a freelancer, you have the power to write about anything you want. You don't have to limit yourself to what an SEO agency told you to write about. So write about RuPaul, whatever it is that interests you, do it in a way that's optimized and use that in your portfolio. But if you're looking for work in the meantime, you can probably get away with privately sharing something. I think it's highly unlikely that someone's going to rat you out to the company. And even if they did, I'm not sure they'd have any legal standing. So the protocol is I would recommend you make your own content, but don't tell people I told you this, but you probably could get away with it.
I like how you explained that. Okay. Um, it seems it will be the last question. Maybe. How do you effectively explain to your clients the importance of SEO? Many clients may not be familiar with technical jargon associated with SEO.
Great question. And this is something I say to my students a lot is like, you're kind of like a doctor. You're not saving lives or anything like that. I'm not delusional, but your job as an SEO specialist is basically to take something really complex and intimidating and make it easy for someone to understand. Here's the one thing. If somebody doesn't know anything about SEO and doesn't understand the value of it, they're probably not a good lead. That would probably disqualify them as a lead, because if they don't understand the value of SEO, then they don't understand how much it costs, and if they don't understand how much it costs, they're not going to pay you enough. So I use a filtering process. Like on my website, if you contact me, one of the questions that you get on the form to book a meeting with me is, how much do you plan to spend on content this year? And if they choose under $1,000 or no budget at all, I just say to them, sorry, it's not a good fit. Because that just demonstrates to me that they don't understand the value of SEO or understand why it's important. So by posting about SEO, by sharing information, by being upfront and promoting yourself as someone who knows their expertise, you are sending out a bat signal to the people who understand how SEO works already, saying, if you already value SEO, then I'm the person you want to go to. And then you don't have to have this whole explaining it conversation to them. Now, when it comes to technical jargon, that's a horse of a different color. You will need to find ways to explain things like JavaScript and stuff. Most people who understand SEO understand the importance of a website that works, a website that people can find when they're Googling. They can probably understand the concept of Googling because everybody Googles, everybody who has internet access. So, there are certain fundamental parts of it. If you take my free fundamentals course, that one has the metaphor that I use to explain the value of SEO. I call it the shopping mall metaphor. It's like literally the first video. So go check that out. That's the free course. You'll probably get a better idea of how I break it down for people who are really new to the concept of SEO.
Absolutely. Great. And question from me. What one advice would you give to someone who is just starting out as a freelance SEO manager?
My advice would be to focus on building confidence in any way that you can, because that is the number one thing that holds people back from becoming a lucrative SEO freelancer. They think, I don't know enough about SEO to do this, or I'm afraid that if a client asks me a question and I don't know the answer, I'm afraid I'm going to look stupid, or there are people who know how to do this better than me, so I shouldn't be charging that much. Those are the kinds of thoughts that are going to kill your SEO career before it even starts. The way that you combat those thoughts, I mean, therapy, but also learning, from a mentor, or taking courses, educating yourself. I have blogs on my website and my mailing list where I basically answer all of the really tricky SEO questions in the way that I answer them for clients so that you don't have to feel nervous about that kind of a thing. So, my mailing list or one of my courses and all the other SEO information you're out there, knowledge is the opposite of lack of confidence, right? The more knowledge you have, and the more experience you have, the more confident you'll feel. And once you unlock that confidence, then that's where the money is, to be honest with you.
Thank you. Great answer. It looks we've covered all our questions for today. Guys, I just remind you that Serpstat can help with your SEO routine. It includes over 50 tools, including 14 AI tools for SEO and PPC. It helps find the proper keywords, identify and analyze your competitors, almost all sites backlinks, and many, many more. Additionally, we provide warm online support, free manuals, tutorials, webinars, and Twitter chats. And that almost all from me. And Liam, what else would you like to add or highlight before wrapping up?
I just want to say a big thank you to you, Alina, and to Serpstat for having me. Just as a reminder, my mailing list, I send out free advice all the time on my mailing list and on LinkedIn and on Twitter. So if you liked what you learned today, please do go sign up for my mailing list or just come follow me, say hello. And if you want early access to my new course or my ebook about finding leads, make sure you go to my SEO Bridge Builders page on my website and just put your name on the waiting list. You'll get an email when it's all ready. But I thank you all for coming, and I really hope to meet some of you soon on the internet.
Many thanks for this super insightful session, for your great presentation, tips, and examples. Thank you all, guys, for joining us today, being here, asking questions. Goodbye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.